Okay, so we're gonna do a quick analysis. Well, this is probably not gonna be quick. This is gonna be a more detailed analysis of PiggyBack skip. And let me just load it again so I can
Welcome
fix
to
this
Polly's
up.
PiggyBack tutorial.
Really on next. Okay, I'll keep that in there. Okay, so we're gonna go over a few things. So let's get that lurker to stop bothering me. So the first thing I want to cover is where to stand with when you start the jump for the trick. So basically how the trick works, if I do like a quick overview, is this lurker is gonna come over here and we're gonna hop on top of the lurker's head, clip through the wall, swim through this water here, jump up onto this ledge, and then boost it from this ledge over here to grab this power cell. That's basically what PiggyBack is. So the first step is clipping through. So I'm going to break it down into 3 sections. So there's clipping through the wall, then there's this swimming section, and then there's this boosted section. And I have tips for every single one, and they're going to focus on the details that I feel like are the most important for the trick. So for the clipping through the wall part, we're going to start with the jumping on the lurker's head. So basically where I like to position myself is literally right here. So if you back up like this, you see that there's these little gaps, these little square or rectangle gaps in here. It's right at this second one, and I like to stand like right in the middle of it. So basically it would look something like this. And what you do is hit L1 or R1 to crouch like this. Just ignore the lurker for now. You hit L1 and R1 to crouch like that, and I crouch right in the middle of it. So like when you first get over here and you load into the save, usually you punch these orbs and the lurker is somewhere over here. So what you do is you usually grab the checkpoint in case you mess up and you want to be able to come back in here. And then you position yourself here and get ready to jump in the lurker. Now what I want to focus on after that is what helps me make sure I can get in the lurker easily. There's something I struggle with a lot is when I'm trying to get in the lurker, I would do this or jump late and take a hit like that, and you don't want that because it's just going to give you less health for the trick, and if you come in here with 2 health, you actually won't be able to finish the trick because the water is going to damage you when you clip through the wall. So basically what you want to do, what I do, is I set myself up in this position and I jump early and push back on the L stick. That's what helped me get on the lurker's head more consistently without taking damage. And I feel like it's really helpful. So you want to get the lurker aggroed onto you. And then you want to position yourself, L1, R1, jump early, push back on the stick, jump on the head. And then the other tip, which is really helpful, is that realize that once you're on the head, if you stay crouched like this, you can walk on the lurker for a good amount of time. If you don't stay crouched, I believe that you'll take damage or fall off after some time. But if you stay crouched for the most part, you can stay on the lurker for a really long time. I don't know, that sometimes you might slip off, but for the most part, you can just stay on the lurker. So if you feel like when you jumped on him, you're maybe too far away or you're not positioned well, you can walk on the lurker and readjust yourself like this. So use that to help you if you mess up clipping through the wall and you still land back on the lurker's head. You have a lot of time to adjust yourself and really try to find the position that works for you, because that's the key. Finding whatever position works for you here. So then we're going to go into more detail about clipping through the wall. So basically what you want to aim for is this little bend, this little kink in the wall kind of here, like it's like crooked corner like this. If you back up more, you can see it. Kind of both sides have it. But this one's like right up here if I zoom in on it. You kind of want to imagine clipping behind that like this. Like a little bit behind that like this. Jack's kind of going to go behind it and into the corner like this. And this is basically where you're going to be going. Like this is exactly, this angle is where you're going to be doing your jump. So basically like this. That's where you're going to be clipping through the wall. So you want to find a position from the lurker where you can kind of go from back here and then through this corner. Through this little corner here. So that's kind of what you want to aim for. So when you're on the lurker, you're on the lurker's head, you do L1, R1, and then you do a high jump by hitting X, and you kind of like get yourself behind this corner, but then go through the corner. That's only the best way I know how to describe it. I would show my stick angle, because I kind of have a stick angle, like a stick L stick movement I do of Jak, but it's really hard to explain. But just know that if you do mess up the clipping and you land back on the lurker's head, that you have plenty of time to move around with the lurker and reposition yourself and try again. So definitely don't give up too early, and don't think that if you mess it up, you can't really try again. You have a lot of opportunity, and you don't have to rush it. Like, take it slow. That's the #1 thing I can tell you, because I got stuck with this clipping thing for a long time, and I still even mess it up now. I'm not perfect at this trick, but I definitely think these tips can help. So yeah, so let's clip through the wall now. Let's just start over again. And if I can get through the wall here, I'll show you the next tips, the next bit of tips. So get in the middle here, jump early, push back, go through the wall, do a double jump spin. Oh, I didn't really talk about that much. I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. So basically, once you clip through you do your high jump through the wall and you clip through the wall, you're gonna land back on the lurker's head, but you're still gonna be clipped through the wall, so you won't actually see it very well. But basically, at that point, you want to do a double jump spin and go as far forward as you can with that double jump spin, because that's what's gonna put you in a great position for the next step, for the next part, which is like the swimming part and jumping to the ledge. Let me just zoom out again so I can kind of show that. So basically, you're going to be on the head, you clip through the wall, and this is what you're kind of going to aim for, because your camera is going to be a little bit crazy. So that's another thing I want to go explain. Don't fight the R stick here. You really want to just kind of just understand how to control Jak as much as you can with the L stick without using the R stick, because I noticed when you're trying to do this clipping through the wall and you start your double jump spin, if you mess with the R stick too much, like the camera stick, your camera can really mess you up and you really can't see where you're going. So you kind of just want to develop the muscle memory with the L stick and know exactly what you're doing. So once you're on the lurker's head, you double jump spin, and if you do that correctly and you stay like kind of in this area, you should land right near this first pillar. So if you look like this, you see this pillar, this is the first pillar with the precursor text on it, and then that's the second pillar with the precursor text on it. So you're going to do that double jump spin from here, and if you do that correctly, you should land right next to this first pillar. And once you're at this first pillar, that's when the next steps can start coming in handy. So you just want to get comfortable with that. It's kind of hard to explain it. It's kind of just something you start to feel. But all I can recommend is don't mess with the R stick too much, because it can the camera can kind of mess you up. Usually the camera will just give you the perfect view, but if it doesn't, if you trust your muscle memory enough and you get really comfortable with it, you should always just land like double jump spin and land right next to this first pillar, which is your primary spot for this part of the trick. So let me just give myself some health here. So let's say you land here. Basically what you want to do is you want to quick swim up to like right in front of this precursor text right here. So you see the second pillar in this precursor text? You kind of want to sit like right in front of it. You see how the camera's kind of messing with me? This is kind of like what it can do to you. So my tip for that is to try to push the camera in towards Jak. It's not always going to save you, but it can sometimes help you. But let me just get myself in a better position. But yeah, fighting with the camera, I noticed, seems to cause more issues. So let's try to get in here so we can get a better view. So right in front of this precursor text, you want a fast quick swim, which is just pushing the L stick forward really quickly, but you want to get better at timing it. It's kind of like, I don't know if you can hear it. It's kind of like that timing, if you can hear that. But yeah, you want to land here, quick swim, and then right in front of this precursor text, you want to do double jump and spin up to this ledge. And the trick to it, like a few things that have helped me, is that if you get the right positioning, you do your double jump, make sure you space them out appropriately. And you want to hold circle when you do your spin, because for some reason I feel like that helps me. I'm not sure if it's like placebo or something that doesn't really make an impact at all, but For me, I feel like if I hold circle, it seems to help me the most. Ugh, the camera's being really mean to me. Like, when I do the full trick, the camera doesn't really seem to do this to me. It's always like if I try to put myself in here. So I might just execute the full trick again so you guys can see it properly. So, like, you double jump, come up to this pillar, like this, and then, like, kind of like right about here is where you want to try to attempt to, like, the double jump. And I like to hold circle. And then you grab the ledge. Now, this might be difficult for you. That part took a long time to get. So, definitely just practice that part. If you want to come into cheat mode or debug mode, whatever you want to call it nowadays, just come in here, try to place yourself in here like this. You can even put yourself right in front of it. Hold, double jump, hold circle, grab the ledge. And if you, like, I usually grab the ledge, let me try to do that again, out here, like this. If you do this, be careful, because if you just, sometimes Jak will just jump up and be where he needs to be, but sometimes if you ledge grab, try to get the ledge grab again, okay, sometimes if you ledge grab, what I like to do, like, what can happen is you try to get up on the ledge and Jak will just fall off. So to avoid that, I jump and spin like this, to try and get my positioning again. Alright, so for the last part of the trick, let's talk about some of the camera movement here. The camera movement is very interesting. There's different positions that I've seen people perform the boosted here. So I usually like to do it from the front, and I'll explain why. But some other people like to do it like over here, like a little bit closer, because it kind of makes the boosted a little bit easier. And the angle you're going for is kind of like right here. So if you boost it from here, or if it, I think you could even get away with like a little uppercut. I'm not sure. I don't usually do it from there, but it's much easier boosted. But I usually like to do it from far away, because in this like little area right here, you notice if I just move around a little bit, the camera doesn't mess with me at all. But if you notice, if you start walking forward, the camera will start to go all crazy on you. So this comes to my next tip for this section. And sometimes, like, no matter what you do, you can't get the stick to adjust. So, like, people usually, like, you know, zoom in with triangle to try and adjust the camera and get it to work for them. But I noticed that the best way to control the camera, there's two things to control the camera. If you come up far like this and the camera starts glitching on you, you can use the zoom to see where you are. And if you walk backwards, you will be able to control the camera again. In this little area here, the camera is very reactive to you. It listens to you. You can do whatever you want with it, and you can see everything perfectly fine. But this is why I like to do my boosted here. But usually if you walk up, the camera can start to mess with you. So if you want to adjust, if you want to fix that, just push the camera all the way into Jak like this. If you can see like this, now I kind of have more control of the camera. I have some more freedom. So if you like to do your boosted up here, just make sure you remember to push your camera all the way in, and you'll be able to see a lot better. Because to me, it's helpful to be able to see Jak. The better you get, you'll be able to perform the boosted without being able to see Jak. But you want to make sure that you can see, like in the beginning, I think it's helpful to be able to see Jak, so you can kind of visualize the timing for the boosted. But I like to do it from here. So I do it like in this corner right here. And this is just going to take some practice. If you want, just use debug to put yourself up here, or cheat mode to put yourself up here, and just practice the boosted until you get comfortable with it. But my tips for boosted is just don't rush the inputs. Just press them, like practice pressing the inputs slowly so that you actually are pressing them properly and the inputs are actually actuating. But yeah, just practice it a little bit and you'll be fine. But those are mainly the camera tips, because the camera messing up is what made this really hard for me in the beginning. But now that I realize like this area is pretty safe, I can see I can see exactly what I want to see. So then I walk off and I can do my boosted just fine. And definitely experiment with positionings. Don't assume that my position's superior. Definitely experiment with all those different areas. Mess with the camera a little bit. Just get comfortable with it, and it'll help you. You'll be able to learn a lot, basically. It'll make more sense the more you experiment with the trick. But, yep, basically after that, you're right here at the cell, and you can just grab it, and there you go. That's PiggyBack. I think I covered everything that was helpful to me while learning the trick. I definitely recommend you just come here with cheat mode or debug and reset the game by hitting left, up, and select while you're in free cam, which you have to press all the R1, L1, R2, L2 together and to get into free cam, and you can just reset the game and practice the trick over and over again. Just practice it, make sure you understand each step, and realize that each step you can customize. Like for instance, like I'm telling you here that it helped me to jump early on the lurker, but if you feel like you're more comfortable waiting, then go ahead and wait. This is just something to help me. And definitely experiment with your positions with this lurker. You have the ability to walk around, so experiment with it and have fun figuring it out. It's a really satisfying trick to get down. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, and that's PiggyBack. I'm just gonna grab it at the end.